Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jorien Vonk. I am working at the VU University Amsterdam as an associate professor. And I'm going to briefly introduce myself before I also chat with a former postdoc of mine, Lisa, in a little bit of a dual presentation at the end. Trying to keep it brief, not to talk a lot about the science, but about the academic path. But I want to show with this example to show what I work on. This is really about climate change in the Arctic. It's warming up and features like this are forming. So this is permafrost, frozen ground that is thawing and melting and releasing its organic matter into the ocean. This could be degraded into greenhouse gases and further strengthen global warming. For scale, you see that this feature is massive because there's a tiny little yellow tent down here of a few researchers in this area. So my academic road, I actually did not straight after studying go into a PhD, but worked at the community of Zaanstad for a while as an academic, environmental advisor. But that didn't really suit me that well, so I went to Stockholm to do my PhD. Then I went to do a postdoc with my own funding in Switzerland at the ETH. I moved back to the Netherlands after that at ETH University with a VU grant for 3 years. And now I have landed at my home university where I studied at the VU Universiteit. And I have now my own research group. So currently I have 5 PhD students and 3 postdocs, and we look at really the land to ocean route of organic matter in the Arctic. I'm an associate professor since 2018. I started at the VU at 2016. And one of my recent projects really looks at coastal erosion in the Arctic, where, as you see here illustrated, land just sinks into the sea, having lots of impact. I thought about challenges and possibilities along my academic path or academic route. And I can start with a few challenges. As I am doing Arctic work, which I love, but the downside of that is that the logistics are complicated and that a lot of field work, summer field work I have done, you spend months or weeks, at least minimally 4 to 6 weeks in a remote place, either on land or on an icebreaker. So there's a lot of preparation and logistics associated with that. That doesn't always turn out the way you want. Samples getting lost, things on the ship going not as you planned, stuff like that. But it's also just rough working out there, being seasick, lots of working hours, limited sleep, these things. But these are challenges that part of the job, in my opinion. Another challenge is certainly that I decided at a certain moment, I really want to be a mom, and I'm now raising 2 kids, 2 boys, on my own so far, which is of course very nice, but it's a serious time constraint, and it limits my working hours. You have to arrange just loads of things, and you're less flexible to just work your ass off. Pardon my language. But now to the possibilities, I'm gonna get back to this topic. I have had the luck to apply for grants and have gotten quite some funding. So that really gave me and gives me independence and also just possibilities of doing exactly those things that I like to do. So that certainly helps. It also helps to pick the places you work and help and to negotiate sometimes in your in your jobs. And I think timing has also worked out quite well for me, as I got kids fairly late. I was already established in my field, and I could safely send out PhD students and postdocs to these remote field locations where I knew people that I had worked with before. Now on to introducing my former postdoc, Lisa Bröder. We did our PhD at the same university in Stockholm, working on marine systems, but she, after that, actually came to work in my lab. I just love this photo, as you see what it's like to do fieldwork in the Arctic, filtering your samples in a local kitchen. She's sitting on bare feet. And she's now based at ETH in Zurich, having an Oberassistent position, so like a researcher position. Yes, I have just introduced Lisa, and now you see her with the background. I guess this is Greenland.
Yes.
Yeah. And you see my curtains still. Yeah, I think we're trying to just pitch this as an interview. So my first question to you, Lisa, would be, or as a general question, what have we learned from each other?
Yeah, I thought about that a little bit. And I would think the first thing that came to my mind thinking of you was to go big and bold, to not limit yourself and don't see the challenges first, but see the opportunities. I think that has been inspiring for me, seeing you. I mean, I've followed your path a little bit, of course, also getting the tenure track position. And I think it's been inspiring to see that you've overcome a lot of challenges along the way, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about that yourself.
Yeah, I guess some of the challenges I have introduced in the beginning, but yeah, I like it to hear this from you, of course, having been in my group. But yeah, I think my middle name in Stockholm was why not, or this is the direct Vonk approach. So I do see just try it out, right? What can you lose? But at the same time, I also just want to answer the question for you, right? What have I learned from you? And I think, yeah, in a way, I have been spoiled with having you as my first postdoc in my lab at the VU, being, you know, independent, very proactive, smart, helping out with some of the challenges when you get PhD students, master students. Yeah, and I think I've also just learned from your stamina, having also been with you on you know, ship-based expeditions, hanging in there, working 24 hours, that kind of hard work, and getting, yeah, great science done. So I think, yeah, it was a smooth ride, at least with you in my lab. And then I had to deal with things afterwards. But let's move to the second question. I think because of time, how can we help each other? Or how are we helping each other? I guess we are, knowing and not knowing. Maybe I can answer that question first, because before I gave you the floor. I couldn't really think of big things, but it's more like picking each other's brains about, for example, people we collaborate with now and in the past, helping each other with recommendation letters, for example, or feedback on grant proposals. What did I think about more? And of course, involving each other in networks, or giving each other opportunities when they arise, and think about each other in that perspective. I think that, yeah, that's mostly what came to my mind. Yeah,
that was pretty much what I was going to mention first, that I think I hugely benefited from as a postdoc in your group was getting involved into in all of those networks that you had already established yourself, and giving me the opportunity to like start new collaborations, get new ideas, just because I was being involved in a lot of things. And yeah, that's something I really appreciated from, and I think that has helped me tremendously also like moving on afterwards. So I think that one is great. And well, yes, obviously just keeping each other in mind when opportunities arise, I think is a big point as well. And I think that's not just for the two of us, but in general, keeping our female colleagues in mind and supporting each other, I think is super important.
Yeah, definitely. Or just around you when, you know, nominations are asked for, prizes, or you name it. Yeah, that's certainly a good point that we...
and in collaborations in general, just remember your female colleagues.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them opportunities to shine.
So now, yeah, I mean, in the last phase, if we look back on our paths and careers, yeah, what do we have as advice or with respect to overcoming hurdles for others? Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that a little bit, and of course we've discussed this before as well. And one challenge that we've talked about before is, of course, the flexibility and the mobility that you have to keep up, at least at the early stage of your academic career, which requires leaving your social networks and going to a new place a couple of times. I mean, we've both done that. And it takes some courage, and yeah, so I think you have to be willing to face new adventures and see the benefits of it, see the opportunities, rather than the issues that you might face. Maybe that's my first message.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely agree. One other thing that I thought of and that has helped me at these, there are a couple of like moments in your career that are very, how do you say so? I say it's important decisions are being made, like you switch institutes, or I would also just say negotiate when you can and don't be shy. In the past, I've been also asking other people around me, not at the same institutes, but friends and colleagues externally, what would you ask for if you were offered this and that? Yeah. And sometimes it has felt that I went too bold, like you said it, but frequently actually got what I asked for. So I think at these crucial moments in your career, ask others for advice and don't be shy. I think that also would help.
Yeah, that's definitely also a lesson that I think I learned from you. Yeah, and take opportunities when they arise. Like if you don't think that you're not able to do a certain task, or that somebody else could do it better than you. Just like do it and try, and you can ask for help, and but don't say like, oh, I'm not sure I can do this. I think that would be, I mean, it's a stereotypical thing, but I think it's still something that women tend to do more, to hold back and be a bit shy about their own capabilities.
So bluff your way through sometimes, or just believe that you have the capacities, right? Because you
and you can still, if you don't, you can still learn it, or you can ask somebody else to give you a bit of support, and then you'll get there. I think that's a lesson that I still have to learn for myself sometimes. But the times that I've tried, I've had good experiences with it.
Yeah, true. We should have recorded the time. I guess we are already over 10 minutes.
Okay. Oh, well, too much to talk.
Yeah, well, so how can we summarize it? Negotiate when you can, don't be shy. What did you say? Like, don't say no, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think another important message, which we said earlier, was like the networking and the support of each other is a big thing. And
True.
Yeah, it's just more productive to work with supportive people in general.
Yeah, and if they're not around you, find them, externally or elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and once you're in a position to actually help and support early career researchers, do so.
Indeed. Yeah, I agree. Well, that's a great final statement, right?
All right. Yes.
Okay.